Merci beaucoup, Carl Schlyter.
Thank you very much. Carl Schlyter.
I thank the people responsible for this debate actually occurring here in our committee. And I think that endocrine disruptors is probably one of the most underestimated environmental threats to humankind that we are dealing with. The dose exposure when you are a fetus or newborn can be extremely low and still affect us. And I find it so surprising that we see these substances intentionally added to products that we put on our skin, food contact materials, in the gasoline, in diesel exhaust, in glues, in clothing preparations. We put these chemicals directly on our body or in the environment where we live, dry cleaners. So I find it quite shocking that we just don't put the most dangerous or for the ones we are most exposed directly on the candidate list. You know Schemsek, who studies chemical questions, they made a screening of 319 potential endocrine disrupting substances. And they selected the ones where they could have one in vivo or one in vitro study showing endocrine disrupting properties. Because in REACH, the substances of very high concern that are on the candidate list today, none of them are there primary because some of them have endocrine disrupting properties, but they are not there on that basis. For example, phthalates are endocrine disruptors, but they are there for another reason. They are toxic to reproduction. And what I think the Commission should do, and I think the basis that ChemSec produced, the 22 chemical SIN list, is excellent, because after screening these 319, they checked in depth which of these substances would actually fall under the definition of substance of very high concern under REACH. And then they would check which ones are then also within the scope of REACH, so they excluded the ones mainly used for pharma and even pesticides. And then they checked the other uses within the scope of REACH. And then they came to a suggestion for 22 proven endocrine disruptors that I think I ask the Commission to take these, or maybe more, but let's start with the 22 substances on this SIN list, because these are exactly the chemicals I'm talking about. It's phthalates that we have in many products that we use. It's 3-benzylidene camphor and 4-methylbenzylidene camphor that you have in ultraviolet protection filters that we put directly on our bodies. You have the pentachlorphenols and you have the additive in gasoline, for example, the MTBE. These are substances that are widely used, that we come into contact with every day, and we know are endocrine disrupting. So I think, why not prepare the dossiers, these 22 dossiers, and ask ECHA to put these on the candidate list? Because if you don't, first of all, we have a huge health impact, and we will have very small chances of reaching the goal that you yourself have set on 136 substances on 2012. But I think these 22 candidates would be excellent to put on the list. I will really ask you to prepare those dossiers, and then we will know better the impact on our health and society. And we will have a better chance to find proper substitutes for these. So I would like to have a reaction on putting those on the list. And I think you should really do it now. We have had a strategy for 12 years. Where is the action? This could be really the first real concrete measure in the process to get rid of this. From the dusts in our children's bedrooms. Where is the highest level of phthalates in the house? It's in the dust in the bedroom of our children. They crawl on the floor and they breathe this. I find it completely unacceptable that we permit industry to put this. So, Gerbrandi, you're right. The industry is probably blocking some of it. But, sorry, I want to kick industries putting toxic chemicals in my children's room out of my children's room. And I'm quite sure I'm not alone. And I'm quite sure I have the science to back it up. So, please, consider my proposal to put these 22 candidates on the candidate list, and then I would like just to support what Åsa Westlund said on cocktail effects. We are all exposed to a whole cocktail of all these chemicals. I took some time, but I hope I didn't.